Technology is gaining a foothold in virtually every industry in Africa, and digital transformation is self-evident. However, the continent still trails the rest of the world, calling for a particular effort to achieve the necessary leapfrog. A zealous endeavor to connect, a collective drive to innovate, and ultimately transform Africa. This is the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit, a special occasion for global and regional experts and stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem to ponder on how to shape, accelerate, and sustain Africa's digital revolution. Join Africa's leading tech forum, running for 3 days in the vicinity of the extraordinary Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, from the 26th to the 28th of April, 2023. Here comes an exceptional opportunity for you to mingle with prominent figures attending the summit, including heads of states, top executives of regional and international organizations, civil societies, captains of industry, and many more. Never miss the rare escape from restless urban settings while rejoicing in the splendid falls, the spray, the mist, and rainbows at one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Mosi Otunya, popularly known as Victoria Falls. To learn more about participation, sponsorship, exhibition, and more, visit transformafricasummit.org. Powered by Smart Africa. Technology is gaining a foothold in virtually every industry in Africa, and digital transformation is self-evident. However, the continent still trails the rest of the world, calling for a particular effort to achieve the necessary leapfrog. A zealous endeavor to connect, a collective drive to innovate, and ultimately transform Africa. This is the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit, a special occasion for global and regional experts and stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem to ponder on how to shape, accelerate, and sustain Africa's digital revolution. Join Africa's leading tech forum, running for 3 days in the vicinity of the extraordinary Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, from the 26th to the 28th of April, 2023. Here comes an exceptional opportunity for you to mingle with prominent figures attending the summit, including heads of states, top executives of regional and international organizations, civil societies, captains of industry, and many more. Never miss the rare escape from restless urban settings while rejoicing in the splendid falls, the spray, the mist, and rainbows at one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Mosi Otunya, popularly known as Victoria Falls. To learn more about participation, sponsorship, exhibition, and more, visit transformafricasummit.org. Powered by Smart Africa. Technology is gaining a foothold in virtually every industry in Africa, and digital transformation is self-evident. However, the continent still trails the rest of the world, calling for a particular effort to achieve the necessary leapfrog. A zealous endeavor to connect, a collective drive to innovate, and ultimately transform Africa. This is the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit, a special occasion for global and regional experts and stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem to ponder on how to shape, accelerate, and sustain Africa's digital revolution. Join Africa's leading tech forum, running for 3 days in the vicinity of the extraordinary Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, from the 26th to the 28th of April, 2023. Here comes an exceptional opportunity for you to mingle with prominent figures attending the summit, including heads of states, top executives of regional and international organizations, civil societies, captains of industry, and many more. Never miss the rare escape from restless urban settings while rejoicing in the splendid falls, the spray, the mist, and rainbows at one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Mosi Otunya, popularly known as Victoria Falls. To learn more about participation, sponsorship, exhibition, and more, visit transformafricasummit.org. Powered by Smart Africa. Technology is gaining a foothold in virtually every industry in Africa, and digital transformation is self-evident. However, the continent still trails the rest of the world, calling for a particular effort to achieve the necessary leapfrog. A zealous endeavor to connect, a collective drive to innovate, and ultimately transform Africa. This is the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit, a special occasion for global and regional experts and stakeholders in the ICT ecosystem to ponder on how to shape, accelerate, and sustain Africa's digital revolution. Join Africa's leading tech forum, running for 3 days in the vicinity of the extraordinary Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, from the 26th to the 28th of April, 2023. Here comes an exceptional opportunity for you to mingle with prominent figures attending the summit, including heads of states, top executives of regional and international organizations, civil societies, captains of industry, and many more. Never miss the rare escape from restless urban settings while rejoicing in the splendid falls, the spray, the mist, and rainbows at one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Mosi Otunya, popularly known as Victoria Falls. To learn more about participation, sponsorship, exhibition, and more, visit transformafricasummit.org. Powered by Smart Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you may be upstanding as the heads of state enter the building. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now take your seats. Your Excellency, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and host President of the 6th Transform Africa Summit, His Majesty King Mswati III, King of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda and Chairman of the Smart Africa Alliance, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Malawi, President Lazarus Chakwera, Your Excellency, President Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, delegated ministers here present, thank you. Delegated ministers here present, heads of international organizations, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the 6th Transform Africa Summit hosted here in Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Welcome to the biggest and most influential event on ICT that we have on the continent. My name is Garikai Nongo, and I'll be your moderator for the first part of this session. As we begin, please allow me to call upon the Zimbabwe National Army Band to give us a rendition of the Zimbabwean National Anthem. May I kindly ask you all to be upstanding for the National Anthem. Thank you all. You may now kindly take your seats. The Transform Africa Summit is Smart Africa's leading event to bring together stakeholders across the digital transformation spectrum. And so today's proceedings and those that shall follow will be leading into defining how Africa can tackle digital transformation. And so to begin the welcoming remarks, please help me to welcome the Minister of State for Matabeleland North, Honorable Richard Moyo. Honorable Moyo.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, President of Republic of Zimbabwe and the host president. His Majesty, King Mswati, the Third Kingdom of Eswatini. His Excellency, P. Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda. His Excellency L. Chakwera, President of Republic of Malawi. His Excellency H. Hichilema, President of Republic of Zambia. Government ministers here present, members of the diplomatic corps, community here present, heads of international organizations here present, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. I am delighted and honored to welcome you, our distinguished delegates from across the globe, to Victoria Falls for the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed guests, to extend a special welcome to you all to Victoria Falls and to our magnificent province, Matabeleland North. On behalf of Matabeleland North Province and on my own behalf, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed heads of state. It is indeed a historical day to have all of you here today. I am indeed delighted to welcome you all to the official opening ceremony of the 6th edition of the Transform Africa Summit. We believe that through this summit and such similar interventions, we have a great opportunity to share and broaden our knowledge on the different initiatives that our government are undertaking to uplift our communities. Through the incredible work that the Ministry of ICT is undertaking, truly the future looks bright. Ladies and gentlemen, we are investing in the future generation and ensuring the fully inclusion of girls and women and marginalized communities. Indeed, no one and no place will be left behind. Distinguished guests, Matabeleland North Province is Zimbabwe's tourism capital, boasting of a number of attractions, among others being the majestic Victoria Falls, Hwange National Park, and the Binga beaches. An untamed gem, the beautiful city of Victoria Falls comes not only with beauty, but with diverse investment opportunity that include, amongst the rest, the development of a 5,000-seater convention facility, construction of 5-star rated hotels and villas, construction of the medical tourism facility, construction of a golf estate, shopping malls, and an Shore Financial Services Center. Investing in the Victoria Falls Special Economic Zone, ladies and gentlemen, will come with several incentives which include, among others, zero-rated corporate income tax for the first 5 years of operation, with a corporate tax rate of 15% applying thereafter, duty-free importation on capital equipment. Exemption from non-residence tax on fees for services that are not locally available. It is my sincere hope that as you conduct your deliberation, you will get inspiration from the natural environment offered by the Victoria Falls. I urge you to create time to experience the attraction offered by the Falls. As hosts, we have already given you a taste of the mighty Victoria Falls and sincerely hope you will enjoy the experience. As you wade through the summit agenda, I sincerely hope that your free time will be spent on some of our attractions here. It is my hope that you will have a truly Zimbabwean experience and one day return with your families to relive the experience. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to thank the Smart Africa Alliance and all the delegates of this summit for affording us this glamorous opportunity to host you and contribute to the shaping, acceleration, and sustenance of Africa's ongoing digital transformation. Lastly, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to wish you all a pleasant stay and an exciting and productive summit. I thank you. Datenda Siyabonga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And to echo the words of the Honorable Minister, we certainly invite you all to visit the Victoria Falls and the wonders that the province has to offer. You will truly realize that Zimbabwe is a world of wonders. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go forward with our welcoming remarks, please help me to welcome the Director General and CEO of Smart Africa, Mr. Lasina Kone.
Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda and Chairman of the Board of Smart Africa Alliance, Your Excellency, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Your Majesty, the King Mswati III, King of Eswatini, Your Excellency, Lazarus Chakwera, President of the Republic of Malawi, Your Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Ms. Doreen Bogdan Martin, Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Mr. Wankele Mane, Secretary General of African Free Continental Trade Area, Honorable Ministers, distinguished partners, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Firstly, I want to greet you, all of you, and say how much we have been overwhelmed since our arrival in Victoria Falls by the warmth and welcomes and the kindness shown to us. You surely know how to welcome your guests. I thank especially the President of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa, of his personal sponsorship of the organization of this Transform Africa Summit 2023 and the celebration of the 10th year's anniversary of Smart Africa Alliance. I equally thank the Presidents of Rwanda, the Kingdom of Eswatini, Togo, Malawi, Zambia. Your presence here today dear Excellencies, is most grateful, gratefully appreciated. 10 years is a major milestone for an institution. As it is for an individual, our celebration is not so much a festivity, but an august occasion to pause and look back at this 10 years of journey, a moment to look ahead at the mountains we must still climb. So today, we express our deepest appreciations to the founding fathers. The Smart Africa Alliance was launched during the first Transform Africa Summit in October 2013 by 7 heads of state, with a mandate to drive Africa's socio-economic developments by leveraging transformative power of digital transformation. It was a very modest beginning, with the 3 staff members and a capital of $600,000. A modest but important beginning. A seed was planted 10 years ago, a seed to transform Africa into the continent we all want. So, we look back as to whether we have been true and faithful to the dreams of our founding fathers. We can say with pride that we have played our part. Our 10 years journey has been marked by strong and meaningful multi-stakeholder collaboration and partnership through practical projects and initiatives with one shared vision: accelerating the creation of a single digital market by 2030. By working and collaborating together, we have grown from 7 member states in 2013 into an alliance of 36 member states representing a population of more than 1.1 billion people, and we are still growing. From 3 member states with a capital of $600,000 in 2023, the Secretariat of Smart Africa Alliance has grown to more than 50 staff members and a capital of $23 million. The partners of the Alliance has grown over the years from all the continent. We work and align interventions with more than 100 partners, including development agencies and funding organizations such as BMZ, GIZ, European Union, World Bank, NORAD, African Development Bank, and Badia, to cite few. We contributed to achieving a continental strategic blueprint, toolkit and policies project that cut across affordable, safe internet for all, digital identification for socio-economic growth, digital literacy for job creation, gender equity in creating an enabling environment for businesses, just to name few. This ongoing growth of Smart Africa is a testament of a tangible value that we consistently deliver. However, over the years, with the need of the continent have grown. Many international organizations and partners, such as the African Union, the World Bank, the United Nations, the International Telecommunication Union, and Smart Africa, are positioned to support the development of digitalization in Africa. But African integration remains so far limited. Intra-Africa export are merely 16.6% of total export, compared to 68.1% in EU, 59.4% in Asia, 55% in America. Additionally, Africa is the continent with the lowest internet penetration rate at about 39 to 40% of the population, compared to a global average of nearly 60%. What's good about digital market size of 1.4 billion people if half of the market does not have access to the internet? It becomes a digital market of only 700 million people. This is not the Africa we want. To build the Africa we dream of, we need to move faster. And the 4th Industrial Revolution allows us to accelerate. To leapfrog is not enough, but we need to cheetah leap. The Africa we want is a connected, innovative, transformed continent The theme of this Transform Africa Summit 2023 translates the roadmap of Africa's digital revolution to reach our shared vision to accelerate the creation of a single digital market by 2023. Now, we must redesign ourselves for the new challenge and opportunity that Africa faces. Today, Smart Africa represents the new Africa, bold, limitless, innovative, pragmatic, disruptive, agile, participative, and inclusive while maintaining the sovereignty of African countries. And with our new Smart Africa Triennial Strategy 2023-2025, we aim to make a greater impact on Africa's social-economic transformation in a fast-changing continent. Above all, with this new strategy, we continue to put Africa people at the center of a digital revolution for the creation of fair and inclusive society that provides equal opportunity for all. It is not a coincidence that we are having a Transform Africa Summit 2023 in Victoria Falls, where nature meets humans. Smart Africa supports the twin green and digital transition in our member state for resilience and help Africa meet the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Today, I have the pleasure to congratulate us for the ratification of the agreement establishing the Smart Africa Alliance, which will officially come into force after today's 11th board meeting, thanks to the adoption and ratification by a minimum of 5 countries as required by the agreement. This agreement is a major instrument for the Alliance to accelerate the progress and realization of the Smart Africa Alliance for the next decade. There is no ambiguity. Smart Africa is a multilateral institution with a strong foundation. Smart Africa Dynamic represents a continent that is open to the world and towards the future. To Cheetah Leap, we work with everyone who shares the same vision of an integrated Africa. 10 years later, our mandate remains as relevant as ever. As Abraham Lincoln wisely said, the best way to predict your future is to create one. And I strongly believe our alliance in this digital era will make the way to create a better future for Africa and the world. Long live Smart Africa, long live our unity. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Director General Kone, for the strong and bold words. And truly, we're grateful to all of you for being part of the mission and the vision to transform Africa into a single digital market. Please help me to welcome and to give his address, but also to take over the proceedings from now until the end of the opening ceremony, the Honorable Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services for the Republic of Zimbabwe, the Honorable Dr. Jenfan Muswere. Please put your hands together.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the host of the 6th Transform Africa Summit, President Dr. Edie Mnangagwa, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Rwanda and also the Chairman of the Smart Africa Board, President Paul Kagame, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Malawi, President Lazarus Chakwera, His Majesty King Mswati III of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Zambia, President H. Hichilema, Your Excellency, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance of the Republic of Serbia, Mrs. Sinisa, Mrs. Martin Ratin, Deputy Secretary for Foreign Affairs in the Republic of Estonia, esteemed delegated heads of state, Ms. Doreen Bogdan Martin, the Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union, Mr. John Omo, the Secretary General of the African Telecommunications Union, honorable ministers here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, distinguished delegates, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th Transform Africa Summit here in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. We are honored to have this opportunity to address you today as Zimbabweans, and also in particular as the Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. On behalf of the government of Zimbabwe, as a member state to the Smart Africa Alliance, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the delegates who have traveled from more than 80 countries to be with us here today. As we all know, the theme of this year's summit is Connect, Innovate, and Transform. We are gathered here to discuss the challenges and opportunities that Africa faces in achieving digital transformation. We are here to learn from each other and to find ways to work together to ensure that every African has access to the benefits of the digital revolution. Zimbabwe is proud to host this important summit, and we believe that Africa's digital transformation is essential for the continent's economic development and social progress. We are committed to working with our African brothers and sisters and with our international partners to build a digital Africa that benefits everyone by ensuring that we leave no one and no place behind. Zimbabwe, in its quest to become a smart nation, has made great strides in the digital transformation agenda under the leadership of the visionary leadership of His Excellency, Comrade Idi Mnangagwa, who is the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Our government has recognized the importance of digital transformation and has made it a priority. And we have developed the National ICT Policy that provides a framework for the development of the ICT sector in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's ICT sector has grown significantly in recent years, contributing significantly also to our GDP, thereby creating employment opportunities for our youth, and we've seen the emergence of vibrant startup ecosystems and the growth of e-commerce and digital services. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, the success of Africa's digital transformation requires collaboration and partnership between African countries and the international community. We are therefore grateful for the support and partnership of our international friends and partners in this endeavor. We are also grateful to our partners, including the African Development Bank, the World Bank, the European Union, for their support and partnership in promoting Africa's digital transformation. And we believe that these partnerships will become critical in enabling us to achieve our goals and to realize the full potential of Africa's digital revolution. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that Africa has the potential to become the leader in the digital revolution and also to leapfrog in the adoption of digital technologies and also to create a better future. We believe that Africa's digital transformation requires a holistic approach that addresses the needs of all stakeholders, including governments, businesses, and the citizenry. We need to work together to create an enabling environment for the growth of Africa's ICT sector, and in order to ensure that we increase access to ICT services and also to promote digital literacy and digital skills development. I thank you. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, we now proceed to the next item on the agenda and would like you to stand up and give a round of applause as we welcome the heads of state who are attending the 6th Transform Africa Summit here in Zimbabwe. We'll start with His Majesty King Mswati III, King of Eswatini, for his address. Your Majesty, you are welcome.
Your Excellency President Mnangagwa of the Republic of Zimbabwe, our host, Your Excellency Paul Kagame, the Chairman of the Summit, Your Excellency President HH of Zambia, Your Excellency President Chakwera of Malawi, Excellencies, Ministers, Heads of Institution and Development Partners, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Sinvusela Begunen. Allow me to start by thanking the President of our host country, government, and the people of this great nation for the warm reception accorded to my entire delegation since our arrival in this Ionic Victoria Falls. It is an honor for me to participate for the first time in this Transform Africa Summit. We now live in an exciting time where the world is changing at an unprecedented pace. The rate of technological advancement is staggering, and the world is more interconnected than ever before. Therefore, Africa should not be left behind. As we move forward, we must embrace innovation, connection, and digital transformation if we hope to create a better future for ourselves and generations to come in our beloved continent. Africa has to be united in her efforts of promoting the Africa we want as espoused in the 2063 Agenda. The African Continental Free Trade Area is another pillar that can help us to be a united force in terms of trading amongst ourselves. We need appropriate technology to add value to our products in order to stop exporting them raw to external markets. In today's world, digital infrastructure and connectivity are vital to the success of business, government, and individuals. They are the backbone of the digital economy, which has become increasingly important in recent years. In the Kingdom, we have made strides to ensure our citizens have fast and reliable internet access, mobile connectivity, and we are now working on a digital Eswatini framework which will complement the state-of-the-art data center and call center that is in place. Therefore, it is time for us to focus on technology as a vehicle that can enhance our development, thus bridging the digital divide between ourselves and the West. We need to share technology and not to compete with each other. When African countries come together and work towards common goals, they can achieve more than they would as separate entities. A united Africa can create a more stable and secure environment that encourages investment, job creation, and economic growth. It can also lead to increased political power and influence on the global stage. In recent years, technology has enabled people to communicate and collaborate more easily across borders. With the widespread use of the internet and mobile devices, people can access information, connect with others, and conduct business regardless of their physical location. One example of technology unifying Africa is through mobile money services. This innovation has allowed people to transfer money quickly and easily across borders, making it easy for families to support each other and for businesses to conduct transactions. Another way technology can unify Africa is through e-commerce. Online marketplaces allow businesses to reach customers all over the continent and beyond, breaking down traditional barriers to trade. The Kingdom of Eswatini is the host of the African Electronic Trade Group, AE Trade, for Southern African region. This is another attempt to promote trade amongst ourselves in Africa. Technology can also promote cultural exchange and understanding. Social media platforms enable people to share their experiences and connect with others from different parts of the continent. This can lead to greater understanding and the appreciation of the diversity of African cultures. In conclusion, a united Africa can be a strong Africa that benefits all its citizens. Technology can play a significant role in unifying Africa by breaking down traditional barriers to communicate, trade, education, e-medicine, and cultural exchange. By embracing technology and working together towards common goals, Africa can achieve greater economic growth, political power, and global influence. Africa's digital transformation is not just a possibility, but a necessity in today's fast-paced world. With the rapid advancements in technology, It is imperative that Africa as a continent keeps up with the rest of the world. The good news is that we can all be a part of this transformation. Firstly, we can start by embracing technology in our daily lives. Whether it's using mobile phones, computers, or internet, we should make a conscious effort to be empowered to use ICT. This will not only enhance our productivity, but also open up new opportunities for innovation, creativity, and growth. Secondly, we can support local startups and businesses that are developing innovative technology solutions. For an example, in the Kingdom of Eswatini, we have a Royal Science and Technology Park, RSTP, that is providing training for business startups for our young entrepreneurs. These businesses have the potential to transform entire industries and create job opportunities for thousands of our people. Thirdly, we can invest in education and skills development for the youth. This will ensure that they have the necessary skills to succeed in the digital age and contribute to Africa's digital transformation. Lastly, we can advocate for policies and regulations that promote innovation and digital growth. This will create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and for Africa to become a global leader in technology. In conclusion, Africa's digital transformation is not an individual effort, but a collective one. Let's all play a part in embracing technology, supporting local businesses, investing in education, and advocating for policies that promote innovation. Together, we can build a brighter future for Africa. I thank you for your attention. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Your Majesty, for your inspiring words of wisdom. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, next I have the honor to call on His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Malawi, President Lazarus Chakwera. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Your Excellency, Comrade Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, our wonderful host. Your Majesty, King Mswati III, King of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Your Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Chairperson of the Smart Africa Alliance. Your Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the development of the continent of Africa has been delayed and derailed throughout history. At one time, it was delayed by our detachment from the rest of the world, which deprived us of new ideas and innovations for economic progress. At other times, it's been delayed by superstitions that resist new inventions and solutions that threaten old ideas. For the longest time, it was also delayed by decades of colonial occupation as foreign nations from the West scrambled for Africa's resources and used them to develop their own industries while leaving Africa underdeveloped, the effects of which are still being felt today. And for a long time after that, Africa's development was held back by oppressive regimes and wars that stifled freedom and the expression of liberty. More recently, we are seeing Africa's progress delayed by a new scramble for Africa between the West and the East, as they each seek to dominate the industries of tomorrow using Africa's rich minerals and metals, all in collaboration with corrupt governments that are willing to sell their nation's birthright to development and economic sovereignty for a song. The result of all these delays is that Africa has been left behind. We have been left behind in agricultural production, in standards of education, in tourism, in mining, in health, in security, in infrastructure development, in trade, and many other sectors. In fact, I submit to you that we have been left behind so much that we will never catch up if our approach is to take the same path as those nations that are hundreds of years ahead of us in development. In any race, if you are too far behind your competitors who started the race long before you, the only way to have a fighting chance is to abandon the racing track and take a shortcut. And so when it comes to the socioeconomic development of Africa, the only way for us to catch up is to take a shortcut that allow us to go digital in every sector of our economy. Now, as to the question of how we take such a leapfrogging shortcut, the only way is for us to work hard on lifting the obstacles to digitization and to work together on connecting the whole continent digitally so that Africa becomes a single digital market. That is why I am excited to be here to represent Malawi as the newest member of the Smart Africa Alliance. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to His Excellency, President Kagame of Rwanda, for his leadership in this pursuit. And I look forward to engaging in these matters with all my fellow heads of state who are gathered here. I also want to thank His Excellency, President Mnangagwa, for hosting this important summit that is key to enabling us to leapfrog decades of development stages and catch up with the rest of the world. As far as I'm concerned, there should be more heads of state here, because if we are going to rise as a continent and leapfrog into the fourth industrial revolution, powered by digitization, then we must rise through technology, and we must rise together, and we must rise now. Thank you for your attention. Tatenda.
Thank you, Your Excellency President Lazarus Chakwera, for sharing with us your transformation agenda. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, it is now my honor to call on His Excellency, President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency H. Hichilema, for his remarks. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you. You may take your seats, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Host President, President Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, our sister republic, and also to recognize His Majesty, the King from Eswatini, President Kagame, Chair Smart Africa Alliance, President Chakwera, Republic of Malawi, another sister republic. Most of you are unaware that Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Zambia used to be one country at some point in time. So I also wish to recognize all the delegations that are here from different countries for being present and also for participating even before this summit with the work that allowed us to meet today, because we know that a lot of work has gone behind the scenes to prepare for today, and some have been working on this, President Kagame and his team, for years, 10 years now, I understand. So thank you very much to all of you. This is a very important summit. Transforming Africa into a single digital market is extremely important. And I'm reminded that we must set our sights high in terms of our ambitions towards digital development on our continent. But I dare say that we must set our ambitions high on everything that we do as Africans, because we are lagging behind. So digital market development is one, and it's a very important one, but we must also raise our ambitions on the economic social development front, because it's for this reason that the digital agenda to make Africa a single digital market becomes relevant, because it is a road, it is a platform, it is basically our daily bread upon which we must achieve accelerated economic and social development so we can create jobs for our youth. 60% of our population, 1.2 billion or more, relatively young, under 30 years old. And that's a very, very big challenge. As my colleagues have already said it, without leapfrogging what we do, without big ambitions in what we do, it will be very difficult to take care of this young population. So this summit, like those before it, continues to be extremely important to taking care of the largest portion of our population. So, as we say in Africa, when we take care of the young, they will take care of us when we grow old. That's part of Africa's insurance arrangements. Some would like to call it the black tax. I actually love the black tax. If we use it properly, it will sustain ourselves as a community, given our cultural backgrounds, our values, the way we have lived from time immemorial. So I would like to focus on just one or two things myself is to say, can we and should we accept that we cannot avoid digitization in our households, in our businesses, in our economies, in our communities. So it is therefore something we must take as a given. But by taking it as a given doesn't mean we must pay lip service to it. We must invest even a lot more into it, because the value that will derive from it is immense. It's not even a debatable matter that if we want to grow production, which is what we should in many areas on our continents, so we can push through a step change in our economies, rather than gradual, but a step change, we need technology. We need digital platforms, goods and services production, agriculture. Let me single out agriculture. We have right now been exposed as a continent with regards to production of grain, production of proteins for our daily needs. The war in Ukraine and Russia-Ukraine war has exposed us dramatically. To respond to that, to increase food production, we need to be able to, if you like, apply technology. And digitization is a must. During the walkover outside there, we're looking at drones. Good news that some of these are manufactured in our countries on the continent. Application usage of those drones. Pesticide control, if you like. I believe genetics as well, very important, so we can increase production of food. You look at the processing of this food to add value, equally important. Digital platforms are very important. So I'm talking about production, processing, but we produce, we process for what? To trade, to consume in our markets, but also in the neighboring markets. The trading platforms that will allow us to take food from surplus areas to deficit areas has to be digital. It cannot be the old ways of communicating to each other. It has to be the modern ways. We also need to share market information. Supply, yes. Where it's demanded, yes. But also the prices. What's the cost of this food? And then we can move the food to where it's needed efficiently without double handling. Let me move away from there very briefly. We need to also use digitization as a platform in our movements of goods and services. Border posts, border areas. A country like ours with 8+1 neighbors cannot afford to have inefficiencies in our logistics sector. Border areas. We pride ourselves, and not long ago, President Chikwera and I were opening a border post called Mwami between Malawi and Zambia. And we were proud to listen to speeches talking about one-stop border shop. And in my speech, I want to repeat what I said. We should not be proud of having a one-stop border shop, border stop. We should be actually ambitious enough to say we should have a non-stop border post. Non-stop border posts. Is this possible? Very possible. If we have a platform, a digital platform, and I was in Mozambique in Beira port not long ago, I think just 2 weeks ago. At that border, goods are packed for Malawi, for Zimbabwe, and for Zambia. But once we are able to share that window when goods are being packed in Beira, in Mozambique, and all our immigration, customs, revenue authorities have that window, that single platform window, which is only possible through digital arrangements, technology. then we don't have to stop a truck at the Malawi-Mozambique border. A truck meant for Zambia should not stop at the border post in Malawi and in Zimbabwe. It should come through into Chirundu, into Chanida, into Mwami. And if it's destined for us, the only time we stop it, other than the driver answering the call of nature, should be the destination in Zambia. But technology will allow us to do that. So with it comes time savings, with it comes cost savings. So this forum, President Mnangagwa, President Kagame, is so vitally important. It's a basic minimum. Let me move away from there. Very briefly, we are talking of the Africa Free Trade Area. We are talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. How can we consummate that without digital platforms? More importantly, without digital platforms that are talking to each other. I'm talking of the infrastructure. Digital platforms that are not talking to each other because the laws are not harmonized. Is there an argument there? So there should be no argument. We must harmonize our laws. We must harmonize our platforms technically so they are talking to each other. No need to reinvent the wheel. If Rwanda has done that internally, I was chatting with my brother, President Kagame, as we were walking here, that the Rwanda government bus is largely, service bus, is largely digitized. Why should we reinvent a wheel and spend a lot more money on research and development when we can actually talk to our colleagues? We create those savings, we short-circuit the processes, we will be able to improve the efficiencies in government deliveries. One of the things that irritates me as a president, 1 year, 7 months in office in our country, is a bureaucracy in the public sector. The time it takes to get small things done. And I've come to realize that it's not just a bureaucracy. There's a hidden interest. The slower the process, the more expensive it is, the more corrupt it is. I'm sure you know where I'm going next. The less revenue that the Treasury collects, and also the higher tax in terms of rate businesses pay. Why? Because we have to build up, to bump up, to balloon the tax rates in order to raise a certain amount of money. When we digitize, we will lower the cost of transactions, time, money. But surprise, 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 surprise to the corporate world, we will also be able to lower your taxes. But, hear me out, strangely to some, but it's not strange, we will raise more treasury revenue at the same time because of these efficiencies. Because there will be no motivation to basically not pay a lower tax rate. So I'm sure I have drawn a connection. I would like other presidents to say other things. So thank you to the organizers. We're very happy to be here ourselves. And you businesses seated here, government ministers seated here, PSCs, can you network, talk to each other before the summit ends? Talk to each other. Use the lunchtime, 30 minutes, 5 minutes eating, 25 minutes networking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Zambia, Your Excellency, President H. Hichilema, for your digital contributions and words of inspiration. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, next it is my distinguished pleasure and honor to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, who is also the Chairman of the Board of Smart Africa, for his address. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
My brother, friend, Hakainde Hichilema, President of Zambia, I want to thank you for the remarks you've made, and I can't agree with you more. There are many things that create problems for us in Africa that we have all the means to address. So I hope we'll pick inspiration from what you've just said. Anyway, Excellency, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, our gracious host, Majesty Mswati III, King of Eswatini, Excellency Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, President of the Republic of Malawi, Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Excellency Vice President, I was told he's in the room, Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, leaders of the international organizations, Doreen Bodan Martin, Secretary General of the ITU, Dr. Mani Abu Zaid, African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, Womukelemene, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, honorable ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A good afternoon to you all, and may I start by saying how happy I am to be with you in Victoria Falls, enjoying Zimbabwe's legendary hospitality as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Smart Africa Alliance and all built on it, like this Transform Africa Summit taking place here. Thank you, Mr. President, President Mnangagwa, for making it possible for us. Thank you, President, once again for giving us such a wonderful venue in which to convene again after 3 years. I also commend CEO Lassina Kone and the staff of the Smart Africa Alliance for leading the organization through the pandemic. Transforming Africa means digitizing our economies. Already many of the new high-quality jobs being created in Africa are powered by technology and connectivity. And that applies even to traditional sectors such as agriculture, mining, and retail. This trend is only going to speed up. Let me highlight some of the strategic levers that we can use to be ready. Part one, everyone has to be connected to affordable broadband and have a smart device. Mobile broadband has been spreading rapidly, but more than 60% of Africans who have access do not use it. We need to keep reducing costs. Part two, a big piece of the puzzle is the digital skills and literacy. One reason many Africans are not taking full advantage of the internet is that they are not yet comfortable with the interface, or it is in a language they don't understand. Part three is digital identity and cyber security. And part four is continental integration, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area or the One Africa Network. We need to make the digital identities of individuals and businesses portable across borders while using technology to reduce barriers to trade. All of these items are within our power to achieve. Our continental institutions, led by the African Union Commission, are already at work. We just need to move faster with a sense of urgency. Let me conclude with a word about artificial intelligence applications. This powerful technology has made headlines in recent weeks, to a big part for the right reasons. It is still unclear how it will affect existing jobs and what safety concerns there will be. But it is already possible to see that Africa actually has the most to gain because of how these applications can narrow productivity gaps between African farms and our competitors on the other continents. We should therefore move quickly to embrace artificial intelligence and make it work for us. Once again, I thank our hosts as well as the financial supporters who make this event possible. And I thank all of you here today for contributing to the Smart Africa vision, particularly our guests from the private sector and the startup communities. I wish you fruitful deliberations in the days ahead, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, for the inspiration and leadership. Your Majesty, Your Excellencies, finally, I have the privilege and honor to invite another champion of the digital economy, a freedom fighter, a democrat, and visionary Pan-Africanist, His Excellency, President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, who is also the host of the Transform Africa Summit for the year 2023. Your Excellency, sir, you have the floor.
Pray, be seated. Your Majesty, King Mswati III of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda and Chairperson of the Smart Africa Board, Your Excellency, President Lazarus Chakwera, President of the Republic of Malawi, Your Excellency, President Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, HH. Your Excellency, Dr. Mani Abau Zaid, African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure, Energy and Digitalization. Honorable Ministers who are here, Mrs. Doreen Bogdad Martin, Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Mr. Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor to welcome you all to this magnificent resort city of Victoria Falls, known locally as Moso Tunya, which means the smoke that thunders on this occasion of the 60th edition of the Transform Africa Summit. It is true that as patriots of Africa would have wished to have Victoria Falls named in African language. But the story is that African people are very, very warm and very accommodative. So there was a guy called Dr. Livingstone, a missionary, who was taken by our people, the local villagers, to show him the magnificent and majestic, I think, Monsieur Otunya. So when he went back to England, he called it Fort Victoria Falls. At the time in England, United Kingdom, there was Queen Victoria. So he named our falls after the name of a queen of some other country. So for nearly 100 years, we were calling it Victoria Falls. So today, my dear brothers, if we advertise for Monsieur Otunya, no one comes. But if we say Victoria Falls, they come. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe, I express our profound gratitude to the conveners of this summit for affording our country the privilege to host this very important event. I trust that you have found the arrangements suitable. I equally welcome those delegates who are joining us on various digital platforms. The world has developed over many, many years, but the current development is too fast for people of my generation. For instance, under the Monomtapa Kingdom, which ruled this country for over 800 years, the Monomtapa Kingdom, which is Zimbabwe today, had diplomatic relations with Ethiopia, what is called Ethiopia now. And what we now call an embassy and ambassador stuff. There was also a similar structure then. The head of the mission was called the Musoro, meaning the head. The other officials were either the eyes of the emperor, or the mouth of the emperor, or the ears of the emperor. But today, all that has changed. The head of the mission is now called ambassador. And then, I don't know the other people, but they have their own titles. So you can see that Africa actually had earlier civilization where they exchange diplomatic relations. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the modernization and industrialization of our great continent urgently requires the adoption of science, technology, and innovation. It has taken quite some time for Africa, when it became independent, to immediately promote science and technology. We somehow looked up to the former colonizers until recently we discovered that the first world was built because they focused on science and technology, which we are embracing now ourselves. But we should now move fast and leapfrog and even surpass the West. Partnerships are essential for Africa to leap forward and build capabilities in the science and technology. Equally, we must seamlessly integrate the frontier of science and technology with the unique needs and the strategic socio-economic development goals of the continent and our respective jurisdictions. The numerous innovations and the start-ups by our talented, youthful population require the support not only of our governments, but also from the global capital. It is therefore pleasing that this summit has a broad array of participants from both the public and private sectors, extending beyond the African continent. Collectively, let us leverage on this noble Transform Africa initiative to accelerate the achievement of Africa's Agenda 2063. ICT aspirations and the Sustainable Development Goals, leaving no one and no place behind. Distinguished delegates, this summit is being held at a time when lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic give impetus for Africa to develop its own capabilities across the social, economic, and industrial spectrum. To realize our vision of transforming Africa through ICT, the young African innovators are challenged to deploy our continent's abundant raw materials for the production of ICT-related hardware, software, and various gadgets. Our institutions of higher education and entrepreneurs should also be supported to design relevant software solutions that speak to the intricacies of African economies and communities. We must look inwards with regard to resources before we begin to seek global economic support. And that support must come to benefit our domestic priorities. It is a misnomer that we continue to rely on generic, off-the-shelf software packages availed to us at exorbitant prices. The Smart Africa membership, comprising renowned global technology firms, must be leveraged to catapult our capabilities. More must be done in this respect. In our case, Zimbabwe, an assembly factory has enhanced the availability of ICT devices at affordable prices locally, especially for the youth. Similarly, the African diaspora is able to use existing networks and knowledge platforms to advance continental aspirations for cutting-edge inventions, innovations, and viable startups. In the case of Zimbabwe, the meeting is convening against a backdrop of notable achievements stemming from the adoption of the 5.0 philosophy of education, among other policies we have made. Science and technology are becoming intertwined with our country's social and economic development, while innovative products and services are transforming the economy, meeting major national needs and improving people's quality of life. Particularly, Zimbabwe continues taking deliberate steps towards food security and food sovereignty, riding on the rapid innovations in science, communication, and digital technologies. These are encapsulated under our country's Smart Africa 2030 master plan, with emphasis on developing homegrown solutions. If I may give an example, when the COVID-19 pandemic struck us as a continent, because Zimbabwe is under sanctions, if we apply to purchase vaccines, if there were, say, 15 countries or 20 countries applying for the same vaccine, our name is put at the bottom. To circumvent that, we summoned our young students at universities, boys and girls, who are talented, to say, look, we need medical oxygen, which we could not get. The only company is BOSC, I think it was British, would put our name at the bottom. So we put up a team of young scientists, and in no time, the international level of purity of medical oxygen is about 96%. But we put our teams together, and we are now producing medical oxygen with a purity above 99% worldwide. But do we remain focused on international supply, or we should not be anywhere? Now we produce 1 week's production of medical oxygen for COVID is enough for Zimbabwe. But the other 3 weeks in the month we produce for export. Under the Smart Africa Alliance and the Smart Agriculture Flagship Program, Zimbabwe is privileged to be spearheading the development of the Agri-Tech Blueprint for Africa. This has seen my government adopting an Agri-Tech strategy and implementing an integrated agriculture information management system towards increasing agricultural productivity and the value chain development, as well as efficient land use and environmental management systems, which has now secured Zimbabwe to be food secure. Overall, we are determined to boost agriculture and the rural development through improved access to valuable ICT-based information that enable agricultural stakeholders to make the best decisions. In the past, we believed the bigger your field is, the better to have higher yield. Oh no, it's not true. You must focus on the yield per hectare. If they give you 2 tons, research for it to give you 4 tons. And if you achieve 4 tons, research more to give you 10. The same 1 hectare. So, enabling policies that support and strengthen the agri-tech ecosystem are being continually improved. These relate to ICT infrastructure, food production and processing, irrigation and water management, disaster management, telecommunication, transportation, and financing, among others. All these areas require to be put to our young generation who are doing sciences at universities. You'll be surprised that the capacities which they have, if they are funded. So the rollout of our education 5.0 philosophy saw the broadened learning and development of science, technology, and innovation. This has led to numerous startups which are creating new products and services for use by our fast-growing economy and society in general. This philosophy departs from where the universities were, during my time, the universities were producing clerks, nurses, policemen. We were never taught how to produce products and services that promote the life of the people, for them to have less burden. In our areas. Notable among these is the launch of our maiden satellite, codenamed ZimStat-1 in November 2022, by the Zimbabwe National Geospatial Space Agency, which we created about 3 years ago. We were depending on the big guys, the West, to know the weather and future. Now we selected a few highly intelligent young men to study about this space technology. And now we have our own Zimbabwe one in space. You go there and say, whose craft is that one? USA. That one, France. That one, Germany. That one, Japan. That one, Zimbabwe. This satellite will enable a wide range of solutions in agriculture, in energy, meteorology, civil protection, communication, and technological outreach. In addition, the innovation hubs established within tertiary institutions and universities have led to other solutions presently used by local authorities as well as the energy and financial services. In the past, the whole country might just have, register 10, 15 patents per year for inventions and so on. Now, we do 150 on average registered patents, just because we have put faith in our young girls and boys who are doing sciences, and you fund them at the universities by creating innovation hubs. When the thought in the head is brought out, you fund it. Then when we commercialize it, we go to our own university industrial park, and the product is produced and then patented. These issues include the e-passport, e-visa, and integrated case management system, e-visa, and passports. Zimbabwe was depending on Germany to produce e-visas. So you have to fly, you must cross this. So I think when you go to Germany, I don't know whether to cross any sea. But whatever, we have to get Germany to get those things. We again put the task to our universities. We now produce our own e-passports and e-visas, internationally recognized. The growth in innovation and the envisaged transformation of our continent through expanded industrial enterprises will undoubtedly translate to increased trade under the single digital market and the AfCFTA. As such, capacity building around e-commerce, as well as development of the appropriate infrastructure and relevant policy frameworks for the envisaged electronic systems, electronic payment systems for Africa remains critical. My dear delegates, as we scale up the use of ICT in all facets of our respective economies, it is equally necessary to deliberately popularize and boost scientific literacy across our societies, both in rural and urban areas. Stakeholders in both the public and private sectors are thus urged to put in place requisite platforms to disseminate scientific knowledge and showcase technological possibilities with regard to lifting our people out of poverty and into prosperity. Our young boys and girls should also be encouraged to use ICTs from elementary institutions right up to the higher education level. In view of the impact of climate change to the peoples of Africa, it is integral for us all to give due attention to innovations related to clean energy and green technologies. Ultimately, renewable energy remains a sustainable source of power for ICT penetration and use. Let us challenge our youthful population to push the ICT boundaries, to leap forward our great continent of Africa. As I conclude, I once again express my sincere and deep appreciation for His Majesty and other heads of state who have graced this meeting. So I once again invite you to take time off your busy schedule to visit, it doesn't matter which way, Mosio Tunya or Victoria Falls, which is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, as well as undertake other activities of the mighty Zambezi River. We also have our annual international trade fair in Bulawayo. It is a very attractive international trade agricultural show in Bulawayo. With these remarks, I once again welcome you to this 6th edition of the Smart Africa Summit and wish you all fruitful deliberations. I hope that you also enjoy the warmth of the people of Zimbabwe. They are very warm, the people of Zimbabwe. They are very nice. Sometimes in our own tradition in this country, you don't praise yourself. But this is an exception. We will praise ourselves. These remarks are therefore, thank you. God bless you all. God bless Africa.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, President Idi Mnangagwa, for the inspiration, for the commitment and leadership. Your Majesty, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of the opening ceremony session. These inspiring digital words also mark the end of the opening session. And as we proceed, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to the next item on the agenda, we would like to invite you to stand up and thank our heads of state as they proceed out of the auditorium. Another round of applause. As our heads of state are leaving, as our heads of state are leaving, we would like to share an important